So just a couple of years ago, I was a dating coach. I was traveling almost every weekend. If I wasn't, I was in Toronto, and I was approaching hundreds and hundreds of women. I was teaching other guys how to do it, and I was dating some of the most beautiful women I've ever dated in my entire life. And in the beginning, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of excitement. I felt really good just being able to overcome this challenge of having social anxiety and being able to just be socially free and go out there and meet new people and be able to create relationships from scratch. And I learned a lot of skills throughout this entire time. But as time went on, I started to notice myself just traveling and meeting people and having sexual relationships with people for the sake of just more dopamine. It was just for the sake of getting more stimulus, more excitement, more adventure, just seeing how far I could essentially push every interaction. And it got to a point where I was fortunate enough to build a business from it. I was making 30 to 50K months some months. And it became a very golden handcuff situation where I was getting paid for doing this thing that was nothing more than just a dopamine seeking activity. And I remember it got to a point where I would wake up just having nothing but anxiety and stress. I had two anxiety panics, matter of fact, that led me to the hospital in less than a span of a year. And this was a mix of multiple things, just the fact that I was seeking dopamine, but also the fact that I'd built up this ego, this identity of being this dating guru, being this dating coach, while at the same time, my lifestyle was completely different. I was in a monogamous relationship. I was at home most of the time. I had built up my business where most of it was online, and I'd been living this like life of a lie where I had two completely separate lives. On one hand, I wanted to be this dating coach and maintain this frame and identity and ego of a dating guru. And on the other hand, I wanted to move on from that. I wanted to actually be who I wanted to be in my real life. And so in today's video, I want to teach you the 4 steps to completely changing your life in 4 months. All right, so number 1 is that you have to fully commit to removing yourself from the person you are right now. So whatever life situation you have going on right now, whether it's a relationship or you have kids or you have a certain job and there's something about your life that you simply do not like, the first thing that happens is a lot of people will have all of these scenarios and excuses for why they can't change. Well, I have kids. I can't leave the relationship. I got to wait till they are fully grown and 18. Or I got bills to pay. I have this job and I need to pay my bills and save up a savings account before I move on to the next thing. And all of these fears, all of these thoughts are just coming from a place of complete fear. And it's coming from this ideology that one day you're not going to die. And the truth is that you are going to die. The truth is that one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be 85 years old and you're going to be on your deathbed wondering why you didn't do something earlier. And this is something that I have to constantly remind myself of, is like, one day I'm going to die. There's no rectifying the situation. You have to simply remove yourself from the person and the life situation and all of these things that you have going on right now to completely reinvent your life. You truly have to burn the boats. That's one of the tattoos that I want to get on my sleeve, is that you need to burn the boats. There's no other situation. You have to throw yourself into the fear, because what this is going to do is it's going to open up the space for you to find the life that you actually want. If you don't have that space and you're stuck in this situation that you are in right now, it's going to be almost near impossible to have the life that you want. There's no pussyfooting your way into a new identity, and you're going to die one day. So if you do throw yourself into this unknown situation and you're forced to figure it out, you will figure it out. So with that being said, number 2, you have to change your environment. You have to remove yourself from the people, the places, the things that your identity is attached to. And for myself, when I was a dating coach, this meant that I had to completely isolate myself. I couldn't hang around the same friends that I was hanging around, going out till 5 in the morning. I couldn't be in the same places that I would regularly visit, such as clubs and bars and places that just weren't conducive to the goals and the life that I wanted to create for my future. And I wrote this quote here, which is, to create a brand new image, you have to remove all associations to the old image that you had for a long time. You have to go to the deepest, darkest places to recreate your self image. You have to go to that place to really figure out who you are. And for me, it was actually completely isolating myself, but also having a mediator help me with the situation. If you need a mediator or someone who can guide you with certain questions or things like that. A lot of people in old tribes used to go to the shaman, and the shaman would either give them certain medicine or ask them certain questions and simply guide them through the situation. For me, my shaman was simply a therapist, a cognitive behavioral therapist, and she really guided me through certain situations, certain questions that she asked me just to build up awareness into my identity and why there was this disconnect between my reality and my current identity. The most important thing here is that isolation is key, okay? You need to stop taking advice from other people, and you need to stop being influenced by things that you were attached to before. This can cause a lot of confusion and it'll just put you back into the same place you were at before. And I love this analogy. The analogy is that imagine you're a lizard, and when a lizard is shedding its skin, it's not social. It's not spending time with other lizards, shedding its skin. It's not hunting during this time. It's not doing things that a lizard normally does. What it does is it completely isolates itself, and that lizard is focused on one thing and one thing only: shedding its old skin. And you need to do the same. And this is going to take some time. When the lizard is shedding its skin, the skin isn't just ripped off immediately. It's going to take time for you to recreate your image and your identity and your ego. The lizard spends time in the hot desert, not eating food, completely fasting from everything that was attached to its old identity. And it takes time for that skin to shed. It takes time for that skin to shed so it can truly shine as that new lizard. And you need to do the same thing. You need to isolate yourself and you need to shed off that old skin. And you cannot do it if you're influenced by certain environments, other people, or certain habits and behaviors. Once you're gaining clarity, the next step is to start small. A lot of people who try to reinvent themselves try to jump into it all at once. And that is simply not the best route. That is not going to help you, because all of a sudden you're going to get that snapback effect. Imagine you pull on the rubber band and all of a sudden it snaps and goes back to where it was. You need to start small. For me, I had to ask myself, what was that one thing, that one habit, that one behavior that if I changed, I would completely change my life? It would lead to a cascade of all of these other behaviors and habits. For me, it was sleeping late. I used to go out till 4 or 5 a.m. at clubs and bars, and it just simply was not conducive to the person that I wanted to become. So I fixed that main habit. That is the one habit that I was focused on. I tried everything far in between to try to fix that one habit. Reverse alarms, staying up and then trying to reset my circadian rhythm, starting off little by little. Like, I did everything I could to fix that one habit, because I knew that if I fixed that one habit, it would lead to all of these different habits. I would lead to me waking up earlier, feeling good about myself, no longer fapping, and all of these things that I was also trying to get rid of out of my life. And like the lizard, you can't shed the skin all at once. You can't rip off the skin. This is why it's so important to start small. You need to start to shed the skin slowly. And this leads to the domino effect. A domino effect is the cumulative effect produced when one event sets off a series of similar or related events, a form of chain reaction, okay? And when you have this domino effect working for you, this does two things. One, it creates momentum into that new identity. You start to get into that identity and shed off that skin very slowly. But also, two, it provides a positive reinforcement, a positive confirmation bias into that new identity. You go, well, I slept early, I woke up early. I feel good about myself. I took care of all of these other habits. I'm really liking this identity. I'm really liking who I'm starting to become. And that positive confirmation bias, that positive effect that you get from that domino effect leads you to start to go on to step number 4, which is having a bigger vision and adding on more. This is fine-tuning your habits. This is adding more habits into your routine. This is, for me, it was a weekly review. Every single week I would sit down and I would review my week and go, what went right? What went wrong? How can I make this week better? Maybe certain habits that I need to improve on, maybe certain habits that I need to add, maybe certain habits that I need to remove, or certain environments or people that I need to completely remove out of my life. And so you start to fine tune all of these things, which helps you go towards that new identity that you've created for yourself. And this allows you to have a bigger vision for just all areas of your life, everything. Finding your ikigai, finding that thing where you have that bigger vision, because a positive feedback loop inspires more action. You want to do more. You want to be more. You want to fulfill your potential, especially as a man. Men need progress. Men need a constant improvement in order to feel a sense of accomplishment, a sense of fulfillment. Now, mind you, this process might take more than 4 months, and that's okay. It's going to be a fine-tuning process that you have to go back and forth with. But the most important thing is when you start going through this process, you'll wake up with a new zest for life. You'll wake up more excited. You'll wake up as if it's this long adventure that you're going on. One of my mentors gave this analogy. He said that for men, life is like an onion. You need to constantly peel back a new layer to get to that root core. And that root core is essentially going to be the end of your life. It's going to be this book that's constantly evolving. And if you don't have that, if you're not constantly evolving your identity, reinventing yourself, you're going to feel stagnant. You're going to feel stuck in life. And so this is going to be a process that you're going to have to redo over and over again. This is a process that I didn't just do once as a dating coach. I didn't do just once to get to where I'm at in life right now. I'm constantly doing this. I'm constantly figuring out where in my life I want to improve on and reinvent myself. So to recap, you need to fully commit to removing yourself from the person you are right now. You need to completely change your environment and influences and completely isolate yourself. You need to start small, shedding off that skin slowly but surely. And last but not least, that's going to inspire more action, which is adding on more, fine-tuning, and constantly reinventing yourself over and over again. If you like this video, make sure to click that subscribe button. And if you want my help reinventing yourself and becoming a more productive and better version of yourself, then check out the link below, book in a one-on-one call with me, and I will directly help you achieve the goals of your dreams. Hope this was helpful, and we will talk soon. Take care.